This is the story of a 50-year-old man, Humbert, who falls in love with a 14-year-old girl and, to get close to her, marries her mother. They cross all boundaries. The movie is called Lolita, and it is based on a true story. The film begins in 1950s America, where we see Humbert driving, blood on his face, lost in thought. He says, "Lolita was mine, she was my life." We are then shown Humbert's childhood. When he was 14, he lived in France. A 14-year-old girl named Annabelle arrived in his town, and Humbert fell in love with her at first sight. Annabelle also reciprocated his feelings. These were the most precious moments of their lives, and soon, they developed a physical relationship. However, their love didn't last long as Annabelle died due to an illness, leaving Humbert completely heartbroken. After this incident, Humbert never fell in love with anyone else, and his entire youth was spent searching for a girl like Annabelle. Many years passed after this incident. Humbert is now a 40-year-old man who gets a professor job at a college in America, which he was supposed to join the next semester. However, he leaves for America during the summer holidays because he was writing a novel that he wanted to complete during this break. In America, Humbert's uncle's friend arranges for him to stay at a house belonging to a Mrs. Hayes. When he goes to see the house, he doesn't like it because it's quite small and dirty, and Mrs. Hayes tries to unnecessarily get close to him. Humbert wanted to leave, but when his gaze falls upon Mrs. Hayes' daughter, Lolita, his steps halt, and he is reminded of Annabelle. Lolita was just as beautiful as Annabelle, and she was the same age Annabelle was when Humbert fell in love with her. His entire youth had been spent searching for a girl like Annabelle. But today, he had a girl in front of him who reminded him of Annabelle, and seeing her smile made Humbert's heart stop. Even though he didn't like the house, he agrees to stay for a rent of $20,000 per month. Humbert stays in a small room there, trying to complete his unfinished book. He saw Annabelle in Lolita and secretly began to gaze at her. Although Lolita was only 14, she was quite mature for her age. When she first saw Humbert, she believed he liked her. She would often intentionally touch him, sit on his lap, and flirt with him. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hayes, captivated by Humbert's charming personality, becomes infatuated with him and secretly dreams of marrying him. The next day, when Humbert is with Mrs. Hayes near a lake, Mrs. Hayes tells him that she is sending Lolita to a summer camp. Although Lolita was not ready to go to camp, her mother didn't listen to her. The day Lolita was going to camp, Humbert woke up late. He rushed to the window to see Lolita. Lolita also saw him. She got out of the car, ran into the house, jumped on him, and kissed him. Humbert's heart seemed to stop, and he kept replaying this moment in his mind. After Lolita went to camp, Mrs. Hayes sent Humbert a letter through her maid, proposing marriage. Humbert agreed to marry her because it was the best way to get close to Lolita. They got married, and Humbert waited for Lolita to return from camp. By now, Lolita had completely charmed him, and to avoid physical relations with Mrs. Hayes, he started giving her sleeping pills. Mrs. Hayes was completely unaware of the relationship between Humbert and Lolita, and it was their secret. However, this secret couldn't remain hidden for long. One day, when Humbert was not home, Mrs. Hayes read his diary and found out about their relationship. Not only that, but Humbert had written very derogatory things about her in the diary, calling her a clinging woman. When Humbert returned home, she lashed out at him, calling him a monster. She broke all ties with him and stormed out of the house. However, she suddenly gets into an accident and dies on the spot. Humbert felt a little sad, but now he was completely free. There was no one to restrict his relationship with Lolita anymore. He goes to the camp to pick her up and tells her that her mother is in the hospital. He doesn't tell Lolita about her mother's death, and seeing her innocence, he falls in love with her again. He says he missed her a lot, but Lolita says he doesn't care about her because he hasn't kissed her yet. Seeing Lolita's boldness, Humbert is taken aback and pulls the car to the side, and they both kiss. And friends, this was just the beginning of their romantic relationship. Humbert says they have to stay in a hotel for a day and then go to the hospital the next day to meet her mother. At the hotel, Lolita meets a handsome man named Claire, and she is attracted to him. Humbert also meets Claire, but he doesn't know him by name. He thinks he is a detective investigating his wife's death. At the hotel, their romantic relationship turns sexual, and they both live in the moment. The next day, at a gas station, Lolita asks Humbert for the hospital number because she wanted to talk to her mother. But Humbert tells her the truth that her mother is no more. This news was very shocking for Lolita, and she returns to the hotel and cries day and night. Now, they had no reason to return home, and they both set out to travel across America. During this time, they also stayed in several hotels and enjoyed themselves like a couple. Finally, they reach BSD College, where Humbert takes up his teaching job and admits Lolita to school. Here, too, their physical relationship continued unabated. However, in the eyes of the world, they behaved like parent and child. Lolita sexually manipulated Humbert to fulfill her demands. One day, Humbert goes to Lolita's school to watch her play, where he discovers that the entire play was written by Claire. Friends, Claire was the same handsome man he met at the hotel. As time passes, their relationship becomes less romantic. Humbert begins to feel insecure about Lolita. He fears that Lolita will leave him. One day, when Lolita has some money, he thinks she is saving it so she can run away from him. One day, he sees Lolita talking to someone on the phone in a restaurant. When Lolita sees him, she quickly hangs up the phone and starts behaving strangely, as if she's hiding something. And before their relationship deteriorates, Humbert offers her another tour. But this time, Lolita was to decide where they would go. On the way, Humbert feels like someone is following them, and he thinks it might be the same spy he met at the hotel. One day, when they stop at a gas station, Humbert goes to buy something. Then he sees Lolita talking to an unknown man. He immediately rushes out, but by then, the man had left. When asked, Lolita says that the man was lost. Humbert thinks it's none other than the spy who was following them. On the rest of the journey, he still feels that a spy is following them, changing cars. When they both stop at a hotel, Humbert goes out to buy something, and when he returns, Lolita seems a bit strange to him. Her feet are dirty, her hair is disheveled, and her lipstick is smudged. He thinks that after he left, someone must have come here, and Lolita says that no one came here. She had gone out for a while to check if Humbert had returned, but seeing her smudged lipstick, Humbert becomes very anxious. That night, too, they have physical relations, but Humbert is afraid that if someone takes Lolita away from him, he will go to jail. The next day, they continue their journey and stop at a hotel for the night. There, Lolita suddenly falls ill, and Humbert immediately admits her to a hospital. After a checkup, the doctor says it's a viral fever and that she has to stay in the hospital that night. Humbert leaves Lolita and returns to the hotel. The next day, when he calls the hospital to inquire about Lolita, he finds out that she didn't have a viral fever and that she had recovered by morning, and her uncle had discharged her and taken her with him. Hearing this, Humbert is devastated and he rushes to the hospital, where he starts fighting with everyone. When he sees the police approaching him, he calms down, apologizes to everyone, and leaves. Actually, friends, Lolita wasn't sick at all. It was just her and Claire's plan to run away from there. Humbert puts all his effort into finding Lolita. He goes to every hotel where they had stayed before, hoping to find a clue. After checking the hotel registers, Humbert notices a particular handwriting that the man who had stayed at all the hotels where they had also stayed there, and he changed his name every time. He tries very hard to find him, but there is no trace of Lolita. He thinks that Lolita has another lover besides him, but then he convinces himself that no one can love Lolita as much as he does. 3 years pass by, and one day he suddenly receives a letter from Lolita, stating that she has gotten married and is now pregnant. However, their financial condition is not good. Humbert immediately heads towards the address written in the letter and meets Lolita for the first time after 3 years. Lolita had married a man named Richard and was pregnant. But even after 3 years, Humbert wanted to know who took Lolita away from him. Lolita says the man's name is Claire, and he used to come to meet Humbert. She also says that Claire was the only man for whom she was completely crazy, and hearing this breaks Humbert's heart. She says that when she first went to his house, she found out that Claire ran a porn industry and was very fond of teenage girls. But Lolita didn't want to have sex with any other boy. She only wanted to be with Claire. Hearing this, Claire throws her out. Humbert feels very sorry for her because she was now living in poverty. He asks her to come with him, but Lolita refuses. She says that she doesn't want to go anywhere else with him. She would rather go with Claire. Hearing this causes Humbert great pain, and for the last time, he looks at her to his heart's content. He gives her some money and apologizes for everything he has done with her to date, and then leaves. After this, he directly goes to Claire's house to kill him, because Claire had taken away the girl he loved more than his life and left her to die on the streets. And even after this, Lolita was crazy about Claire. Humbert reaches Claire's mansion, but Claire doesn't remember anything now. He doesn't remember Lolita or Humbert. He has done this with many girls before. First, he follows them, then lures them into working in films, and then uses and abandons them. It's not necessary that he remembers everyone because he was a pervert. Humbert reminds him about Lolita and says that he has come to punish him. Now Claire remembers a little and says that he did not force her because he cannot do anything with any girl, and Lolita came here willingly, and when she did not like the work here, she left. Then Claire offers Humbert to stay in this mansion to save his life, where he will get beautiful teenage girls daily. Hearing this makes Humbert even angrier because his obsession with Lolita was not just sexual, but also had emotions attached to it. He shoots Claire and kills him. After this, he leaves. And friends, this scene was the very first scene of this movie where Humbert was driving, lost in thoughts of Lolita. The police are after him for Claire's murder, but he doesn't even try to escape. He doesn't care about his life anymore because the girl he loved so much doesn't love him back. The police arrest him, and he is sent to jail. He dies in jail due to an illness, and the very next month, Lolita gives birth to her child and passes away. And friends, this movie ends here. Through this movie, an attempt has been made to tell us how bad the outcome of such a crippled relationship is in the end, and how it destroys people's lives. Parrot Holmes here. Thanks for watching.